Today I'm going to share 5 tips for what to do when you find yourself focusing too much on the future. So this is for ENFPs, ENTPs, INTJs, and any other type that spends a lot of time really kind of holding tightly to a goal that you're working toward someday, or feeling like I'll be happy someday, I'll finally feel fulfilled someday once I achieve X, once I do X, once I move to this place, once I get this job, once I get this relationship, that I can't be fully happy now. I can't be fully productive now. I can't be whatever now. I need to wait till the future, or this won't be possible till the future. So I've spent a lot of my life in that place, and I know just what it feels like to feel like you're always waiting for something. And so the first tip that I want to offer here is to embrace the paradox of life. We're kind of taught in school, in the Western education system, that there's like one right answer to questions, right? It's either this or this. This is the correct answer. All other answers are incorrect. So everything is just kind of one thing. And the truth of reality, I think, is much more paradoxical. It's that multiple things can be true at the same time, and those things can feel in conflict with each other. And so one example here is that, part of you feels like I need to keep working harder. I need to keep making progress. I need to be productive. I need to be effective. If I want this future to come, if I want this thing to happen, this goal, then I need to accelerate. I need to keep doing more, right? So that's true. But then you also hear all these messages about the value of meditation and mindfulness, slowing down, self-care, right? And so you might think, well, which one's true? Should I be working harder, or should I be chilling out? And so what if you embrace the paradox here and you decide that both are true? And so one way that I think about this is going to the gym. If you just decide, I'm going to be lazy every day, who cares about the gym? Then, obviously you're not going to make progress in your physical health goals. You're not going to grow your muscles. You're not going to increase your cardio health, whatever, right? If you excuse yourself all the time and you just allow yourself to never have to go to the gym. But on the other hand, if you force yourself to go to the gym every day and you force yourself to try to bench 300 pounds, you're going to hurt yourself. It's not going to be effective, right? So the answer is not to push yourself to work too hard, and it's also not to just allow yourself to do nothing. The answer is, paradoxically, that you should probably try to prioritize going to the gym if that's important to you, but to do so easily. You want to do it in a way that it feels sustainable. And so you are making progress, but in a way where you're not holding too tightly. Like, I have to be lifting this amount. I have to be going for this many hours all the time, right? You need to be able to hold it loosely. So you give yourself a break sometimes too. So I think that applies to any kind of future orientation that you have, any kind of goal that you're working toward. And the second tip is to hold your future goal more loosely. So it's kind of like imagining life with a more dreamlike quality. So when you think about your dreams, they have this kind of quality where they're almost gaseous, like a gas, right? Or this kind of like ephemeral, like fading away. You might be in one place in your dream, and then suddenly you're in a different place, and suddenly in a different place, and that last place is kind of still there, but then it quickly fades. And so I think that can be a healthy way to treat your potential futures in real life. So you might think like, wow, it would sure be great someday to live in a house that looks like this, or it would sure be great someday to have written a successful book, or to have an amazing child, or to own this car that I've been wanting for a long time, whatever. So you can hold those. You're allowed to have goals, but to treat them as a little more dreamlike. Like instead of just deciding this has to be true, I have to move toward this no matter what, I have to get there as quickly as possible, to just hold it loosely. Just kind of imagine like, that's a nice dream. That could be cool. It might happen, it might not happen. This could also be cool. So you can take them seriously, but it's just, imagine the analogy of just like how tightly are you holding to something? Are you you're holding it, but you're holding it loosely, or are you gripping it really tightly? Because the more tightly you grip it, the more you're going to be disappointed if it doesn't pan out the way that you're wanting. So one analogy that I'll offer is to think about a photograph of a wonderful time in your life. Like you're looking at a photo of that time years ago when you and your friends were together at this beautiful thing, whatever. And you look at that and you're like, oh, wow, that's so sweet. I remember that. That was awesome. Great. But you're not thinking, oh, that was awesome, and I need it to happen again. I need to go back to that memory. I need to go back in time and recreate that, right? That would be holding really tightly in an unrealistic way. But instead, if you just look at it as, oh, wow, that was really sweet. Can you apply that same thing to the future? Oh, wow, it would be really sweet if someday I can do this. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. So think of it like looking at a nostalgic photograph. My third tip is to just recognize logically that the way the human brain works, just the way that we evolved biologically, is we are kind of programmed to always be seeking more. Right? That we don't want to run out of food. We don't want to go hungry in the winter. Right? There's just all these very animal instincts that we just want to keep amassing objects and resources so that we feel safe and secure. And certainly that can be helpful sometimes, but it gets us into a lot of trouble nowadays when most of us have what we need already, but we still fall into this hedonic treadmill of wanting more and more. And logically, we all know that it's not serving us, right? We all know that logically, even if we become millionaires, we're going to want to become billionaires, right? There's never really going to be a place in climbing that ladder where we stop and say, you know what? This is perfect. I don't need anything else. I am totally fine with $1 million, right? Because we're going to look around at our other millionaire friends who have $5 million and $10 million. And wow, that sure looks good, right? I want that now. So the standard is always going to be raised. The goalpost is always going to be moving. And so logically, the only way to truly be happy is to practice wherever you are being content with what you have. And of course, I'm saying this from a place of privilege that I have so many things in my life that help me feel content. Some people aren't in that situation. If you're struggling to pay the utility bills, you're struggling to pay for groceries, you have a lot of insecurity in your life, then yeah, it does make sense that you need a higher standard to feel secure. But, you've probably seen the research that there's some number, whatever it is, 60, 70, 80,000, depending on where you live, right? That after that, the gains start to plateau and drop off. So yes, you do need a minimum standard, but at that point, the practice really is to focus on gratitude. And I know you already know that, but I think a practical tip there is to notice when a voice in your head is telling you, I will be happy when, I will be satisfied when, someday when I'm married, or someday when I have a better relationship, or someday when I have this car, or someday when I have this amount of money, or this house, or I get to move to this place, whatever it is. Notice when your mind is doing that, is creating that story of things will be good when someday. Catch it doing that, and right in that act, in that moment, try to replace that thought with, I am grateful today for X. So that's the really tangible, tactical tip, is notice when your mind is going down one neural pathway of I need to wait for X, and immediately reprogram it to go down a different neural pathway of I already have X that I'm grateful for. And the more you do that, the more you'll encourage your brain to go down the new neural pathway of thinking I have enough, I am content, instead of I want more. The fourth tip is to practice noticing when you think that you need to get the perfect thing or the just right thing immediately, right? Like you think, I need to get this perfect desk. I will not be able to be fully productive until I have the right desk, right? And I happen to have expensive tastes, so I really want this super fancy looking desk. It's the most ergonomic one, it's the most beautiful one, but it's $1,000, right? But I value my productivity, right? So I need that desk. I need that as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm going to be unhappy until then, right? So one step there is to notice that happening. Notice that I'll be happy when, I'll be productive when. And then instead, practice settling for a temporary solution. What happens if I just use my kitchen table for a while? What happens if I get this super cheap desk on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever? And can I use that as an opportunity to practice just being with a cheap version that satisfies the basic need for a while? Maybe I make an agreement like I'm going to use the crappy cheap one for a few weeks and see how it goes. And then you gather information and then you make a new choice. So you maybe realize after a few weeks, actually, this is fine. I don't actually care. I don't need more, right? I'd rather spend that $800 difference on something else, a new laptop, right? Maybe I actually don't need that super fancy desk. Or maybe after a few weeks of using the crappy desk, you realize, you know what? Desks are really important to me. I really love being surrounded by beauty. I do want to give this crappy desk away or sell this crappy desk and upgrade to the newer one, to the better one. So instead of jumping straight to the perfect one or the one that you think you need, start with a less good one that fulfills the basic need and then practice upgrading. So it's just getting in the mindset of satisfying yourself with something lower with the intention of gathering more data and then the option of upgrading instead of feeling like you have to get the top thing right away. And then my fifth tip is to use an exercise to figure out what you really want and what really matters to you. So it's really useful to get clear on your personal values. And then you can kind of compare, is this choice aligned with my values? Am I spending my time and energy in a way that is aligned with my values? You know, looking at my calendar, is the way that I've set up the coming week really prioritizing what's important to me? But aside from that, I want to give you a specific exercise to focus on figuring out, what do I really want? Instead of what do I think I should do, or what do other people want, or what message have I gotten from society? Because that is what so often drives this future focus, that I need to get more, I need to keep moving toward this goal, I need to keep gaining status or money or whatever. It's not coming from inside us, it's coming from outside us. And so the exercise is to close your eyes when you're trying to make a decision, trying to decide, should I buy this expensive thing? Is it okay for me to take it easy here? Is it okay for me to take it slow toward this goal? Or do I need to push myself to accelerate? When you're having a question like that, close your eyes. Imagine you're in a room, and imagine you are in that room with everyone who has an opinion on this. So it could be your parents, that they told you a certain thing, like you need to prioritize this, you need to do this to be a good person, whatever. It could be your boss, your coworkers, your friends. It could be, imagine like a personification of some idea you got from seeing commercials or movies or whatever the culture has told you that you should prioritize this. So imagine all those voices, all those people are in the room with you as you're trying to make this decision. And you can kind of hear them all chattering, all telling you, here's what you should do, here's what a good person would do. And then one by one, ask each person to leave. Open the door, ask them to walk out. And just really picture that. Picture them leaving the room, picture that voice leaving, picture the volume on that voice turning down, them leaving the room. And then finally, close the door and lock it. And you're alone in the room. And in this room, when it's quiet, when you're alone, then really check, what do I want here? What do I value here? What is the right pace for me? Do I need to rush here? Could I be okay if I don't get this thing? what do I need? What do I want? And then once you're clear on that, you're allowed to take other people's feelings into account, right? Maybe you want to do something that will be what you want but also benefit someone else. Also take their needs and desires into account. Great. But the most important thing is to start by getting clear on what you want instead of starting from the perspective of my partner needs this, my parent told me I should be like this, that commercial told me that, successful people have this object, right? So start with what matters to you and then take into account those other perspectives. All right? So the 5 things again are recognize the paradoxical nature of reality, that 2 different things can be true at once. And so you can prioritize easefulness, patience, and also commitment and working hard at the same time. Practice holding loosely instead of tightly. Next, think about looking back at that nostalgic photograph, thinking, wow, yeah, that'd be nice, but I'm not going to forcefully try to grasp onto that and force that to happen. Just kind of imagine a dreamlike quality of reality and potential futures. That'd be nice, but it doesn't have to be this way. Number 3 is remembering the hedonic treadmill, that because of the way our brains work, we're always going to be wanting more. And so logically, the only way to be happy is to fight against that and practice noticing when your brain is saying someday, and instead say, no, right now, here's an example of something that I already have that I'm grateful for. So you're slowly reprogramming your brain. Number 4 is, instead of needing the perfect thing now, you start with a less perfect version of that gets the basic need met. And then you experiment, see how that goes, and you can decide stay with the imperfect version or upgrade to the better version. And then number 5 is get clear on your values, check in, are you aligned, and do that exercise of being in the room with those other voices, asking them to leave, and checking how you actually feel, what you actually want. All right. Give it a try. Let me know which of those 5 is most valuable, works best for you, or if there's something else that works well for you here. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I hope you have a nourishing day.